I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
Welcome to WTC Squadcast, a podcast focusing on international matters, tournaments, communities, and the World Team Championship. The WTC is a proud partner of the T-Sports Network, Best Coast Pairings, and is sponsored by The Army Painter. If you'd like to support the podcast and the WTC, please visit our Patreon at www.patreon.com/WTC Squadcast. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello everybody and welcome to the WTC Squadcasts Into the Squad mini podcast series. Today I have Luxembourg captain and co-captain Gilles and Thierry, who is going to tell us, I hope, a lot about their small country. So please introduce yourselves, guys.
Well, hi everyone. Thanks for having me, Işık. I'm Gilles. Well, sort of coerced, Shanghai captain of Luxembourg.
Coerced? Oh, wow.
It was Ivan's fault. Ivan of Team Croatia, not the Katic, the little ginger one.
Bobo.
Bobo. He was the one that he was in the European Community.
Oh.
No, he cut out.
He was called back then when we attended, because we have a long history of attendance, as you just pointed out. We needed the captain. We didn't have a real way of doing team selection and stuff like that, so basically everyone just agreed, hey, you do the work, but you'll be captain. You can call yourself captain, but you'll do the work.
Yeah, essentially it's sort of like so if we call him captain, he'll think he's important and he thinks he'll make the decisions, which is like, that's how I became captain for Team Turkey as well. It's like, all right, that's fun.
They baited me with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's what we tried. We wanted him to be captain, to represent.
Oh, yeah.
So that's basically about me and the first things into captaincy. Then Thierry, would you like to go?
Yeah, I'm Thierry, so I'm the co-captain of Team Luxembourg, and it's basically I became that because Gilles became captain. We decided to start it. Ivan told us about it, so we wanted to go. We wanted to be part of it, so we started building up a team, and I've been with it since the beginning, and we're still pushing the community.
Okay, so this would be about after 2018 then, right? Because you're at Luxembourg's first attendance to the scene is the 2019 Serbia event.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is more like, what were you expecting when you, I assume Ivan mentioned some things, but did you check pictures? Did you have an expectation in mind? When you entered the hall, did the reality meet those expectations?
Good question. Do I have an equally good answer? I wouldn't know. We didn't expect anything. Bobo basically put us into the mindset of it will be big. There's going to be a lot of players. There's going to be a lot of systems, and it will be cramped. And there are some down and some upsides. Like the food is, if you are late to the food, you basically don't get any because the next round has already started. But there will be lots of beer and and you'll meet new people and you make a lot of friendships. And Işık, you and I and Thierry as well. We met you when we were in the Belgian Team Championships, the ones that were in February that year.
Yeah, 2019 February, the Tom Adriani's event, which is
exactly.
And it was basically a small version of a tournament. We never had any team tournaments, and we made the mistake of winning the first round and then going against Team England, and it was. I couldn't sit straight for 2 days.
Oh wow!
So it was fun. Did it meet their expectations? Well, we didn't have any. We just wanted to have go there to have fun. That's all we wanted to do, and we did, and smashing success. We didn't come in last, so that's everything's perfect.
Yeah, as a first time attendee, it's always like at least not the last place, at least not that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Anything to add, Thierry?
Yeah, being there at the venue was, you've seen big tournaments, but the scope was still impressive. Going like, oh right, yeah, the nations. It's not like we played games versus nations that are not from our continent, and it was impressive to see that. I had no clue what he was saying, and he had no clue what I was saying, but we played the game and we got along, and that was quite impressive. That is something that stuck with me the most.
It's always good to see that even if you don't speak the same language, you sort of speak the language of 40k, and when you point to a space marine unit, and then when you point to the enemy unit, the guy understands what you mean, and then you can sort of like have an understanding. If you especially both know the stat lines, and you can speak without speaking at all, which just happened before.
You also see other countries' way of adapting, because we played some countries where obviously minimum wage is not the same as in Luxembourg. The way they improvise with their models, they were beautifully painted. They were well done, and it's something where I would have never thought of that because, well, I can just get the model, paint it. But they had I don't have enough money to buy 18 tractor cannons, for example, because that was one of the lists that was running around. And they go I built this one from old PC parts, and I built this one from. It started with a box of cigarettes, and the rest was just added on. It looked awesome. It looked orky, especially because that's why Games Workshop has one orc truck model. If you know anything about orc, they don't have one model. It's not the production line. It's I got this lying around. Let's just stick it to the guns.
Yeah, that's the scratch-built orc armies usually look more orcish than the proper.
The bought one.
Yeah, if you just it's like, and I personally met many orc players who were essentially became orc players in order to just kit bash, and this was the best army for that, and they had magnificent armies. It was like,
it puts you in perspective of meeting people who are with different mindset of views. Well, you have neighboring countries like we have Germany, France, and Belgium, which is basically it's the same thing. You just speak a different language, but it's not like if you have people from Turkey, that's already far away, so to speak, before people who are
exactly, and it's.
From everywhere else, and you know of Australia. Some people have been there, but I haven't, and it's not. You'll meet the people you talk about, and you learn stuff about them.
I have to stop you here, but because Australia is not a real country, and it's a simulation, and they just.
It's a penal colony. I know. You go there because you've been punished.
No, it's not. It's a simulation. They don't send real people. They send aliens from space. You got this all wrong. It's just like the pigeons, man. The pigeons are just drones.
And it's a good
they recharge
simulation.
on the power lines.
Exactly.
Then you meet people who are representing a good simulation, and you meet people who are actually good, well-made robots. So kudos to the Chinese.
Exactly, and it's like. So you also mentioned that the ETC 2019 wasn't your first team event, but the Belgian one in February was that. It's like
Exactly.
What?
Yeah, we played another one. Jill, was that before or after?
That was
ETC?
after.
That was after.
The Alliance Open one, the ones from the Dutch one.
That was after. Okay.
Okay, so what was the difference you saw between the team event, especially those ones would be essentially with national teams, but not really. But what was the difference between the team event you attended and the singles event before those?
Gary, you attended more singles events than I, so you take that one.
Yeah, it's more fun. It's more fun. It's you go there, like even the singles. You go there. I've been to England and have been to the Netherlands to do singles, and you do see the same guys again, and you talk to them, and you become friends, and there is a camaraderie with it. But if you go with your own team, you train with your own team, you get into another mindset where you don't play for yourself, but you play for the team. And if you have like bad games, you have the support of the team, or you have the discussion of the team that helps. So I, by and large, prefer the team events to singles, because I find it less demotivating if you run into a rough patch.
Yeah, and it's like going on holiday with friends. You can attend a singles event with other people. So let's say you have 3 friends going to a singles event. You play each other at one point, but most of the time you'll just be concentrated on your game. And between games, you bump into each other. But I have to go get something to drink, or I have to take a piss, or I have to go, I don't know, go vomit because I'm so stressed out. You know that. And but in the team event, you go over and say, "How's the game going?" Because you're invested into the other man's game, the other friend's game, and especially since there's 8 players for the bigger ones, you are invested in those games as well, as opposed to just being focused on your game. But you know that shit, it's not going well now. Might be getting out of 20 points, I might be getting 7 or 8. So you think, okay, I'm getting 7 or 8 points. Okay, I see he's being completely fucked. So. Yeah, but I see him over there. His opponent only has 3 models left. So, and then you're invested in the other games as well, which is something you don't have at singles event, which is also a different aspect to the entire game of just being focused on your game, winning. But here, if you lose, well, you have your friends who pull you back out. Normally, if you are a good team.
Yeah, that's something people always come up with and say, in a singles tournament, in a singles event, if you are losing the match with near max points, you sort of just give up at turn 2 or turn 3. But in a team tournament, you stick in it. Even if there is a chance that you can bring home 1 point out of the 20-0, you push for it and you try to bring it back, which is so you always try to do your best, not just for yourself, because you already lost that game, but for your teammates, for the other 7 people in the team, and for your country too, if you have a more nationalistic bent to it.
No, we're not. No, we got. I mean, it's Luxembourg. I mean, you can barely walk 50 meters without speaking a different language. So there's nobody gives a flying fuck about that here. It's just everyone's from here. Everyone's having fun. So there is a nationalistic movement, as there is in every country, but they're basically just crazy fucks, and everybody here just goes, yeah. What you just start speaking a language and hope it's the right one, and if he doesn't, then you switch to a different one. At some point, you'll find one you both understand.
So that sort of actually allows me to segue to something else I wanted to talk about. How is the community in Luxembourg? It's a very small country. First of all, how big is Luxembourg itself?
2,500 and something square kilometers.
Basically, the height of the country is from south to north, it's 100 kilometers, and from west to... Yeah, come on, we're cheating a bit here. And from the left to the right, it's 50 kilometers. So if you're in the capital, no matter what direction you drive, in 20 minutes you're in a different country.
Oh, wow. Not many people live in there then. So it's like...
So we had 700,000.
They want to reach 1 million. That's their goal. Imagine that. It's the size of... I memean, I don't know what the square mileage of any capital in Europe is. The bigger ones. They give a flying fuck about Andorra. But it's the same size. Oh, it's smaller in size than any big city. I mean, I don't know what the square mileage or square kilometerage of London is. It's going to be bigger, and it has 14 million people living there.
Yeah, well,
we have a lot of forest.
I come from Istanbul, man. It's
which is even bigger.
The official number, the official population number is 16 million, but the unofficial is probably around 21. So that's always fun. So when you tell me it's 700,000, I'm like, okay, that's just one district. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Most people say, that's the poor man's district somewhere over there.
Yeah, it's just,
So one of the problems we run into with the community is that because of the small size, the distances from the people that have stayed in Luxembourg forever, so never left or went to uni for some extensive amount of time, they consider that having to drive by car for 20 minutes or 30 minutes is it's too long.
wow.
It's too much. It's too far. So you have the biggest problem we have with the community is to get people to come to places to play the game. Because you're coming? Yeah, but man, it's 35 minutes of a drive. Like, yeah, but you'll stay here for 6 hours. Yeah, but that's too far. I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Come on.
Ishik, if I tell you have a game, I suppose there's public transport in Istanbul. I don't know.
No, there isn't.
You have donkeys,
we just walk.
right?
We just ride camels all everywhere.
I was gonna say donkeys. Come on, man.
No, man, come on. Just donkeys are so 17th century. We upgraded to camels now.
Isn't camels currency for buying women?
No. This is good.
You throw away a perfectly good camel if you can just ride a donkey. Nobody wants donkeys.
Donkeys are really good. Don't discourage the donkeys, man.
I love donkeys. I don't have donkeys, but
Yeah.
they have donkeys living next to my house, and they're awesome.
Oh,
No, but if I tell you, you'd have to drive, or you have to make a trip of 30 minutes to play a 40k game. What do you say?
I say it's close. The commute is less than an hour. It's a short distance in Istanbul. Like
Exactly. Same if you say that to an American person, who's gonna say, it's a tournament. It's only 4 hours drive away.
Yeah, it's like
that American person's gonna go, woo, road trip.
yeah, they'll just say like I have seen them. Oh, it will only take us 18 hours to drive, and it's like 1,000 miles. I'm like, okay, that's sort of long even for me, but some countries are just way too far. That same applies to Australia as well. Oh, we have 30 million people, but we are literally a continent, and they're just like they have to take planes. So it is interesting to see the differences in countries, like you mentioned. That some countries are just literally a stone throw away, and some have to make an occasion just to have a Friday night 40k.
Yeah, that's something that bothers me. And we have the store where we play. Is also, I'm gonna plug myself now shamelessly. Fuck you. It's a store I own, and it's we have free parking, and we are next to all the public transport, so train and buses, which are free in Luxembourg. Just to say, taxis are not. Do not, for the love of God, get in a taxi in Luxembourg. It will cost you 20 euros just to sit in it. And
So public service announcement to everybody: if you ever be to Luxembourg, don't take the cab.
yeah, trains are free.
Don't take it will ruin you.
Yeah, trains are free. The train, the tram, the buses, they're all free. You can even rent a bike for €2 a day, something like that.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's shit like that is free. But we are right next to it. So they can park there for free. They can stay there the entire day if the parking spaces usually are available, especially on weekends. And they still say, no, 20-minute drive's too far for me. And I go, what? How do you survive in your life? You just... How? It boggles the mind. And you see people just... because we have a lot of commuters, so what's it? 250,000 people daily, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that number come over from France, Germany, and Belgium to work in Luxembourg because the minimum wage is so fucking high. So they work in Luxembourg and they live somewhere else. And yeah, well, they drive 3 hours. Some people came from Brussels every single day to Luxembourg to earn money. But tell a Luxembourgish person he has to drive 20 minutes, you'll be lynched.
I feel like this is not a new thing, and you had been frustrated about this for a while because you had been ranting for considerable time.
Yeah, I will not stop unless you tell me to.
No, I can listen to a good rant, but no problem. But I have other topics that I want you to rant about. So it's like I want to diversify the energy.
The ranting.
Hunting, yeah.
So how many people are in the 40K community specifically?
So the one of the problems we have is that there are several communities we have troubles getting in touch with them because they don't play with us, and even though we like
We don't need the
announce
French community. It's okay. You can leave that one.
that we do tournaments and stuff like that, they will not really mix with us. But the ones we have a Discord, and we have I think 90 members on that Discord, and I think like about 30 are active, and of those I'd say 15 to 20 play regularly.
Oh, that's not too bad. By the way, all these mentioned stuff here will be linked in the both podcast and the YouTube video description. So if you want to check those out, for the listeners, you can check those out. They will all be listed in the description if you want to join the Luxembourg community. Please go on.
So we used the Discord helped a lot to bring the people together and to organize plays and games. Sorry. So that helped a lot, and we actually start to have a few people from the other countries, just on the other side of the border of Belgium, or or even German people on the other side of the border when you go to Germany, who are active in the community who can come to play. And in addition, it's quite international because we do have like a big institution of the EU in Luxembourg. So you do have like people that come here from other countries that stay here for several years and start playing. I mean, we had one newly Rafael.
Yeah.
Who started?
He's Spanish.
He's Spanish.
Oh,
So that's great. That gives diversity in it. So we speak nearly every language in our game. So if we do German game, a French game, an English game, or Luxembourgish game.
Wait, is there a Luxembourgish language?
Yes, it is.
All right, I thought it was just like either French or German. But that's
No, it's a Germanic language. So, but it's let's say people from just over the border who speak like from Trier or Bitburg or people over there, they understand Luxembourgish. Not just because they are in contact with Luxembourgish people often, but also because it's their dialect. If they are from there and they speak their dialect, it's similar. It's the same. The words are in the right place, but if I were to speak with a German, they don't catch a lot of it. But every Luxembourgish person learns German and French in school, because those are also national languages. So our language it's a farmer's language. So you can't write legal text in a farmer's language. So you have to have a proper language to write your text in. But and then you all learn English in school later. So every person from Luxembourg who's gone through the basic schooling knows, in theory, 4 languages.
Wow, that's actually quite impressive. We barely teach English to our students here, so it's like.
And it's also because I know a friend of mine he's Portuguese. His wife is Dutch. And so he speaks Portuguese to his kids, and his wife speaks Dutch to his kids. So when that kid's finished with school, he'll know Portuguese, Dutch, Luxembourgish, French, German, English. So he'll learn 6 languages.
Yeah, then you just send them to the UN to become a translator or something at that point.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And it can't be bad for the kids to learn more languages. It triggers the brain. It gives the brain more energy, or it develops the brain in a positive way. You can't tell me it's a negative to learn a different language.
Oh no, I'll agree. I fully agree. It's like the more multilingual a person can be, it's the best. And if you start doing you should start doing it as early as you can.
Exactly. So here you start at 7, 6. Jerry, you're in the field.
6 with German, 8 with French.
Okay, and that's that's essentially pediatrics from the WTC Squadcast. To sort of pull it back to the 40k side. So you say you have is the community how active? You mentioned 15 to 20 people but do you host? Obviously, this wouldn't really apply during the pandemic, but did you used to have tournaments or was it more casual play in Luxembourg?
Used to be more casual play. When we started, there were like the core of the community. Like there's always that solid core of community of people who play competitive, because that's just the natural evolution of games. When you first any card game or 40k, you build your army, which a competitive player will just laugh and walk away from it. But you play it, and then someone looks at a podcast, listens to a podcast, looks at a YouTube video, or reads an article, and finds, wait, this unit is completely broken. And then he'll buy it, he'll try it, and he'll destroy his friends, and his friends have to retaliate. And at some point, you end up in a competitive environment, so to speak, because people will have the competitive lists, maybe not the competitive mindset of they didn't play for years and years and years to get there, but it evolves naturally. And we didn't do many tournaments before, because the problem in Luxembourg is also, if you want to do anything bigger, you have to either be a non-profit or you have to pay ridiculous amounts to rent the room, which is, yeah, it's like imagine a €500 entry ticket. You'd say thank you, and that's not the point. And we started doing more tournaments. We're trying different scenarios. We tried one now where it's like, you could call it a league, or you could call it a tournament that runs for a month. So it's 16 players. Everybody has their a week to find a date with their opponent to play their game. They report it in BCP, and then at the end they could change the lists on Mondays, and on Tuesdays it's the new pairings are up. There was discussions about, but what if people then tailor their list against their opponents and blah blah blah. We learned from that. You're not going to be able to change lists probably next time. But there were 16 players. Most of them were involved enough, and they got the games in. And it basically shows people that tournaments are fun. We had a 12-man tournament because opposite our shop, someone. The other thing that was there was an architect. He moved, so I talked to the owner and I said, listen, I'll give you a bit of money, but let us have this room for a day. And the tournament filled up really quickly, and that was like the tail end of the COVID restrictions, so where you could again do stuff, but it was not completely open. And that had good attendance. So it shows us that people really do want to play. Because there was no tournament scene in Luxembourg or in the greater region at all. There were some tournaments in Metz and Nancy. There were some tournaments in Trier and Saarbrücken, but it wasn't a big thing. There were no big. The biggest tournament you have that's close was in Amsterdam when the Alliance Open guys do it. But that's
still far. Like we're talking about several hours or 2-3 hours.
4 hours. 4 hours. Drive, yeah.
So you cannot really leave in the morning and come back in the evening. You have to make it.
We have to sleep there. But the advantage also is that we heard from several avenues that the people from the other countries are interested too, because since there is no tournament activity or a lot of tournament activity in the greater region, there's some in Saarbrücken, there's some on some other levels, but people crave tournaments more and more, have the impression. So. We had from the several other communities that participated in the tournament said like their community was, what the tickets are, but we were already sold out at that moment. So we are motivated to put on bigger tournaments, but the problem we have to first solve is the venue, because with the real estate in Luxembourg being so expensive, all that becomes expensive, and it's doable but complicated.
Yeah, and it's ETC was supposed to be there in 2020, obviously before the pandemic. And
again, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell everyone that we are not part of the ETC 2020 orga.
Duly noted. And it's like,
sorry, it's mandatory.
Obviously, whenever Luxembourg comes up, it has to be noted. So sorry, I skipped it at the very start. As it is prime real estate there, and I understand that it's always a problem to host big, and you want to host a bigger event, and it becomes a problem by itself. But I hope this podcast would help you find new people, and it would allow you to maybe somebody who hasn't heard that, hey, there is some Luxembourg tournaments that can attend will hear this, and it will tell his or her friends, and maybe they'll show up in the next event, which
that would be brilliant.
Well, we are working on a bigger tournament, but there's some we're starting a non-profit, and it's going to be registered at where I live, and we get the venue for really cheaply, so really cheaply. I mean, I imagine there's cheap hookers that are more expensive than that. And it's going to be, it's got a nice thing. So we talked to teaming, Manny and Dan from Glasshammer. Maybe there was some talk about that they may come as well. And that if someone like Manny attends the tournament, that brings people who are competitively minded. They'll because Glasshammer then also will tell them, hey, listen, there's a tournament there. That will bring more tournaments. And if we manage to set up a good tournament, same with WTC, if you manage to set up a good tournament, people will want to come back.
yeah, exactly, and that's what we're trying to do, and not just for the WT sighting. Nobody really tries to do this thing just for once, because once you do it, you sort of get bitten by the bug and want to improve and do it better, and more people attend, which is always a good thing. It's until it is a different experience. That like 20 to 30 people tournaments are nice, but once you hit the 200 to 300 people mark, that's a whole different experience.
Yeah, we'll start slow. We'll go with 32, around that number, to keep it nice and Swissy. Not that we have anything to do with the Swiss financial place, but we'll try to keep it calm and low for the beginning, because if we overdo ourselves, we might fuck everything.
Yeah, just move into it slowly.
Exactly, because if you go like, we can fit 128 tables into it, and then a week before it's like, shit, we have a problem with the terrain, we have a problem with this, we have a problem with and then people will attend, they'll come, there'll be no adequate sleeping arrangements made, and then people will just be mad and they will not come again, and it would not be good for everyone. It would be better if you just go slowly and then build it up, as you said, ease into it, and if the event is a smashing success, then we can make it 48, or you can make it 64, and we'll go slowly. It's in the works, but it's not yet anything.
So when would that tournament be, like in time frame wise?
We're not giving out any dates. We don't know. It's gonna be next year, if anything. We'll announce. We'll probably also post it in the Discord for the WTC, so they're all getting it out to their players. We don't have any dates yet, and we don't want to fix a date, because that will put pressure on it, and it might backfire in the end. So
because there's some administrative hurdles to take, and we have no control over how fast they work and what's happening there. So we want to do it. It's our goal to do it, and once we have a date, we wanted to go through several avenues to put us on the map internationally for the tournament. Because if it works, we want to effectively do it bigger, and we would love to have a team tournament too. But that is a few years off, I would think.
Yeah.
Or a few years.
Again, it's something that's I don't like disappointing people, especially in that area where you just go, we'll make the biggest best tournament, and then nothing ever happens.
I throw back to some earlier tournaments in 2018 in certain cities that starts with an L and ends with London.
Possibly.
It's that sort of like that sort of has a personal meaning to me as well, because I saw that tournament and thought, shit, we cannot have the ETCs like that or WTCs like that at that point, and everything I do is sort of like trying to stay away from that exactly. But although it turned around, essentially, everybody seems to be improving in the globe entirely, which makes me really happy. All the big tournaments have now terrain maps. They put decent terrain. Their registration process is running smoothly thanks to apps like BCP or Down Under pairings. And
they're learning from other people's mistakes. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's improving it, and it is improving the tournament attendance as well. More and more people. Obviously, this applies before pandemic, but the numbers are booming. There were hundreds of players filling out the tournaments, and it was like it proved that the 40k tournament community was not a limited pool, and I feel there was some sort of animosity between organizers between them, because when somebody made a tournament, it felt that they were stealing attendance from other tournaments. But that perception was obviously crushed in 2019 by several dozen tournaments just on continental Europe, reaching hundreds of players.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is more like curiosity thing for me, and it just sort of like to pick your brains as well, I guess. How would your ideal WTC look? Like, if you could have it with no restrictions, keep it legal, at least in the location where it will be. So essentially, what would be your ideal WTC? What would you want to see?
Jerry, you want to go first, or
Yeah, I can. I'm more practical in that, like, I don't know, nice location and nice food to be all in one place. Like, I loved the one we did. Where was the one we went to? The city. Can you help me, Ishik? The last one.
The last one was
real.
Novi Sad.
Novi Sad. There you go.
Novi Sad was a great location when it comes to attend a tournament. It didn't have much to go, but it was great to attend a tournament.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, besides the tournament, because we went back to our location and would just like be brilliant but that's dreaming, like to have like a sort of resort where you play and everyone stays in the same hotel, and then you'll have the pool area filled with nerds, and wherever you go it's just 40k, so that the community grows together more than if everyone stays in their location. You'll still have your rooms and stuff like that, but I feel like if you go to the restaurant in the evening, like I like that a lot with the Open Alliance when they did it still in Amsterdam, where you go up to the restaurant, and half of the restaurant is the guys who just played, and I find that to be very interesting. And since it was a self-contained like hotel, you go to the pool and you have people speaking Warhammer 40k there. And I find that to be like really cool. And then if you dream, you get like a super nice hotel, like a spa or something, with brilliant food. But to have the persons after the tournaments more together, that would be something that I would really like to see.
So you essentially want to see a. So this actually somewhat applies to the Belgian Team Championship. Shout out to Thomas.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in case you haven't been to that, for the listeners, the Belgian Team Championship used to be this was back in latest was in 2020, of course. It was essentially a summer camp where everybody both stayed, ate, and played in about 2 minutes walking distance from everything else. And wherever you looked, it was some nerd, and it was just 2 days of non-stop 40k, from Friday night to Sunday night, 48 hours, late into the night, then sleep for a few hours, back into the gaming action immediately, and that was great. And I actually would agree with you, if we can reach such a thing, it would be good.
But the sleeping arrangements in the Belgian Team Championship is you have to drink a lot and be the first to bed.
Yeah, it was 4 to 6 people dorm rooms. Yeah, that is correct.
In bunk beds, which I don't like that, but that's just personal. I mean, it's
Yeah,
part
we
of
have some heavy snorers.
yeah, it's part of the fun because it's like those hostel holidays you go to when you're young because you don't have any money, so you just sleep with 15 strangers in a hostel. And you have all your belongings stuck between your butt cheeks because they're gonna be stolen.
Yeah,
no, but back to the point which I wanted to say. I like the resort thingy. If money wasn't an issue, because I've seen I'm not going to call it a shitstorm. That's not. But the concerns that were raised when prices would have needed to go up. That some people are going to say, yeah, well, that will put some countries and it will put some players because they already have to spend thousands of euros on the plane ticket, thousands of euros on here and blah, 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 just to get there. And now you raise the prices even more. I understand the concern. It's something thankfully I am not afflicted by, even though I don't make a lot of money, but it's still, I mean, 20 euros more on a ticket or 40 euros more on a ticket isn't going to hurt me that much as it's going to hurt some other people. So thankfully, I am in that position. But if money weren't a problem, these hotel resorts, because I was gonna say the same thing that Thierry said, with the which you have a resort like the one in the hotel, which it's an hotel off the motorway. Where you have your rooms upstairs, and then you go breakfast, and then you go downstairs where all the tables are. And then when you finish playing, there's a buffet for lunch. Then you go back down, you play. They had coffee machines lined up on the side, which you can get free coffee and everything. That was a very good event. Terrain was nice. I mean, kudos to the Lions Open guys. They've been doing it for a while, and I've been to 2 of their events, and they're awesome. But something like that, you know, all the resorts you have in the touristy areas, like Croatia, or basically it's my only point because it's cheaper than all the rest. It's still in Europe, so to speak. They'll have euros soon, and you can stay there. Like, imagine every team has their own bungalow, and then you don't know which team is going to be next to you. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna go out for a barbecue. You're gonna have drinking games. But that is something that will cost upwards of 1,500 euros, which is not manageable. But that would be a perfect ETC or WTC style event where everybody's just in an enclosed location. Yes, there will be the odd German tourists with their banana pouches and their Birkenstocks.
Well, okay, thanks for the imagery, by the way. It's appreciated greatly.
You've seen them. You live in Istanbul.
No, there's no beaches here. Well, there's sea, but there's no beaches in Istanbul, so I don't see them. But I have internet, obviously. I see them, but yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you go down south in Turkey, like the peninsula, the opposite of Greece. It's full of them.
I know. The resort idea is actually, yes, it would indeed be. It has been actually brought up. People have looked into it. Ivan Katic, the Croatian captain, who also was the organizer of the 28 Jura, who was also the organizer of the 2018 event. Actually, he did actually look into that option. This is before when he bid for Zagreb, but it's like, I'll defend the, let's say, less financially privileged countries here a bit, because I am one of them, because €1 just passed 10 Turkish liras a few months ago, so it's like 10 per second. Our money is essentially worthless too. Ideally, yes, I agree, it should be a somewhat enclosed location where you just get in and you get out 6 days later tired because you played like a dozen games or more, but also had the best time of your life. If there's any billionaires listening who owns a resort, come on, we are open to sponsors. So
yeah, exactly. I'll bring my knee pads.
See, And Jill is very handsome too, so it's just.
I have long hair. I can just leave it open, Sean Naden style, and then you can pretend I'm a woman. It's okay.
Hey, this is like if this was actually a mainstream show, this would so not go up.
Yeah, I know. No, it's after 3 minutes on YouTube. You can say fuck all you want.
But we're not monetized anyway, but it's like, oh, all right. whatever.
Okay, so it doesn't care. No, but I mean, if I had the choice between a really nice resort, everything around the WTC was perfect, or a perfectly organized event where you have tables which are well made, it's nice terrain. I'd pick the terrain every time because I despise warm weather. So Novi Sad wasn't my ideal 45-degree sweatbox, but I the terrain was good. The event was well run. There was beer. There was everyone was nice. There were people running around in costumes. It was well made. It was well run. Everything was efficient. Shout out to the Germans again. Everything was efficient, but it ran well. And I prefer an event like this than an event that had a perfect surrounding. Like you can get blowjobs by the pool for free, but you have to play on a table with Coke cans.
Yeah. So that okay, I understand. Atmosphere helps, but the fundamentals of the tournament is. It's
in the end, you're there to play a game, and if playing the game isn't fun and everything else around is fun, then you can just go on holiday.
Yeah, that is true. Some people actually combine those, especially the ones that's coming from USA or Australia. They actually make it an occasion to. They take a month off. They make an occasion of just hopping different countries, which if I could do it, I would do it myself. So I'm like, so if possible, come to the WTC next year, and then go to Greece for a week, because why not? It's there.
Yeah. Don't stay in Austria in August or where there is. Just go to South Tyrol, which is very nice. It's in Italy, but don't tell them that.
Okay, so we sort of have reached the milestone, and I'm really happy with all the talk we had. How can people find you and your community in general?
Well, as you already said, there's a Discord for our community, which will be down below. I'll send it to Işık, don't worry. We basically don't use our Facebook page that much, but I have access, so if you send it a message, I will read it and I will guide you to the correct area of ingress. So, to use fancy words. But for the rest, it's just, yeah, if you're from the vicinity, you've probably heard of us. Where we play, I can also, I don't know if shameless self-plugging again is allowed.
It's more than allowed, it's encouraged.
Okay, yeah, the shop is Games Tower in Luxembourg, in Mersch. But if I tell you the name of the city, you won't do anything with it.
Isn't Luxembourg just one city? I thought
it's
No.
almost. I mean, it's not that big. They're all connected.
Okay, I thought it was just one mega city.
It's the name of the capital, and it's also the name of the country.
That isn't confusing at all.
No, it's not confusing. It's more confusing if you have one of the largest and biggest cities on the almost European continent, and it has a long and illustrious history, and you make your capital fucking Ankara. Why?
Oh, it's only half in Europe, the other half is in Asia.
Yeah, well, it's the perfect meeting place for everything, and you put it in Ankara.
Oh, well, I can sort of get into the history of Turkey. It's essentially all the fault of the English, all right? It's everything that happened in 18 to 20, mid-20th century can be blamed to English.
Always. That or the few colonies in France.
Sure.
Like West Africa. Just go, yeah, you're fucked, boys.
Like I said, they'll be able to find the links in the descriptions. And Thierry, do you have any final words for us?
No, well, thank you for having us. And if you have any questions, our Discord will be below in the description, and just ask us. Just ask in the Discord. It's quite active. People talk a lot. We have few people that started just painting and doing that and discussing it. So the community grows and grows and grows, which is just perfect.
Which is what we want to see. And
Yes.
I'll close by thanking you two. It was a pleasure, as always.
Thank you.
And I hope I'll see you guys in 2022, wherever the WTC will be. And thanks to all our listeners, and see you next time into the squad. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.